So, there's a lot in this character of Jay. I want to start with the fact that Ryan and them needed you to be like fully in shape. Like you had to get, really. I mean, it's MMA. There's half that's in the film. But talk to me about the just grueling, schedule, just getting up to the shoot that you had to go through. I mean, this is pretty intense.
So it was. I was, like I said with Ryan last night, I think it was three and a half weeks from the day that they cast me to the day that the first shoot day. And Ryan was basically, so the character was originally written as like this huge guy, just like the ripped, almost like just roided out guy. And Ryan was like, so we want you to get in like tip top shape. So my roommate at the time was going to this powerlifting gym in like downtown Los Angeles, and it's not like an LA Fitness or any of this is like pros go to this place and lift. So he was there and he was like, hey man, maybe you should come like check this out, and I got this diet for you and all this stuff. And he basically was my personal trainer. So I would go to yoga at 5:30 in the morning for an hour, and then I would go to the gym for about an hour and a half, come home, do work on the script, relax, eat a lot of bacon and eggs and protein shakes. That was the other thing. And then I would go to the gym again at night. So it was like 3 workouts in a day, about 6 days a week.
Do you have boxing training at all?
You know what? I actually had a little bit for like 3 months. Completely unrelated to the film. It was actually for some guy I knew who was like a boxer and ex-boxer, and he wanted to learn how to act. And I was like, yeah, we can just trade off trades basically. So I would go over monologues with him, and he would just teach me how to box. And then I used that. And Ryan has a lot of experience with MMA and some boxing. So I worked with him, and then I was working with this other guy.
Did you ever get to meet the guy this is sort of based on? The guy, I believe he's still in jail.
I believe he is as well. Ryan would keep that very separate from what we were doing. He only really spoke about him. What he said last night was the extent of what
really?
Of what I know. Yeah, he didn't really get into it because he told me, he said, I don't want you to play him. This is it's like an adaptation. Like the story is about him, but find your own version of him. So he didn't really give me anything. Everything about him is the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did you use for inspiration? I mean, did you look for certain characters or roles?
I really would just take this guy's, and it's kind of just the way that Ryan was writing the story was, he's so much on his shoulders throughout the film that there isn't a lot of there's very few moments where he's able to share his struggle of what's going on. Like even with his girlfriend, he can't really he just kind of tells her to get out of town and this is for your own good kind of thing, just get out of here. So I really just kind of just spent, like even when I would go to the gym during the day, just like alone time, just kind of isolate myself. I feel like he's very isolated because everyone that he's friends with they work for him.
Yeah.
They're not his even his friend Petey, he works for him. And I could feel that I just kind of kept it close, just feeling what it was like to keep it close to the chest a lot of times.
How much fun was it one of the things I loved about the film is the different ethnic makeups of all your dealers, and then the people you work with. I mean, we meet the Dominicans, we meet the Hasidic Jews. I mean, it's such a New York feel. That must have been a lot of fun to be able to kind of jump into these different worlds, but you're still the big bad wolf. You know what I mean? Like jumping into these crazy different scenarios. Yeah, because I think every scene has different characters and different people, like you said, from different ethnic backgrounds. That it's really, it just felt, it makes it feel very, very urban in that way, and it makes it feel very real. And that's where with Ryan, and even seeing it for the first time last night, the film, to me, it's a film, but it almost
doesn't feel like a film. It feels like just a day in the life, kind of with this guy, and then this is, he's thrown into this circumstance or this scenario that's maybe a little off the beaten path, but it has this grindy, muddy, like a gravel in your face feel to it. And I feel that with the different ethnic makeups of all the characters, it just adds to that. It adds to that element of it.
Let's talk about the fact that your character loves strippers, and can you talk about that scene in particular that y'all have, that intimate strip scene where she dances for you? What was that shoot like? The way you shot it made it didn't seem sleazy in any way. It was almost like elevated, the way y'all made it poetic, the way it's shot, and the colors, and it seems brighter than the rest of the movie even. Can you talk about that sequence, because that's so different than anything else in the film?
So the way that it was edited was how I'm sitting in the chair and I'm with my boys here, and they're doing their thing, and then all of a sudden Vic comes behind me and then rubs my shoulders, and then all of a sudden it feels dreamlike.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was what they were going for. So in the shoot, I had, she's there. We're in a separate room, and she had worked for a month on this dance with a choreographer and spent a lot of time doing this. And so I just thought, like, okay, this is his, he's getting a private time, relaxing with his girlfriend. And it added this, the way that Ryan edited it I thought it was brilliant. It's great. It just adds this different element of, like, is it really happening? Like, is it a dream? Like, did she just rub his shoulder and then he's going through this? And the shoot itself, I remember Ryan he said, okay, when she's dancing, just don't touch her. Just sit there and just absorb. Just let it in. That's it. And I feel that it adds to that dreamlike state.
I've got to ask about the music with Dirty South, and Ryan was also collaborating on that. Did they play that for you in any sequences? Did you know the music was going to be like that?
No, all I knew was her song. The song that she had during her dance. I knew that. They played that for her in the room. The music was being piped in. Everything else, I saw the opening sequence, the animation. I saw that with the music, and that was it.
So what do you think of? Because I thought that was one of the best parts of the movie. Is it helps with the suspense throughout. The music is a huge player. It's almost its own character. The way, just the beats, it goes with your character's movement throughout.
Yeah.
How did you feel about seeing it now fully formed?
So it was actually kind of cool because, like you said, the music is. I'm a musician as well, so it's like the music is a big. I noticed it a lot through watching it last night, and there's a lot of silence for the characters, but the music just adds this little, like a pebble in a pond. There's this little ripple effect that it adds. Like if you're in a scene, and I noticed a lot with the way they edit it at the ends of scenes. There's a lot of looks that say a lot about what, especially with Jay, what's going on with him, and the music. Like it adds that. It's just a spice. It adds a flavor, and it moves everything in this very cohesive. It's like a painting almost. I feel like the music flowed together from scene to scene with the dialogue, with the interaction, and I was blown away with this. That was the first time I heard the 90% of the soundtrack, and I was blown away by it.
How about wardrobe-wise? I love the fact that there's always, black's obviously a theme throughout, but the presence of the wolf is almost entirely in every shirt. Like you have that one shirt that looks like like the Never-Ending Story wolf's on the center there. I'm like,
the gray one?
Yeah.
I almost wore that. I brought it with me. I brought it with me with the black bomber. I still wear the clothes just because they're comfortable clothes. They were like, here, you can have it.
But was that, did Ryan always he wanted to have that presence of that, like your wardrobe's very specific through this.
Yeah, and he wanted a very, you're not beating the audience over the head with it. It's very minimal, but it's specific, and even down with the facial hair and the haircut. The day of shooting, it was the first day of shooting. He goes, "Did we cut your hair?" I said, "No, I don't know what you..." So he just got the makeup guy, and he just had scissors, and he's like, "Look, just like cut pieces off around. Like, I don't care. I don't want it to be neat. I don't want it to be pretty. Just cut pieces around. Just mess it up."
It's coming from a guy that has pretty cool hair himself, Ryan. Yeah. And there's they work at a hair club place too. That's the Serbians. Who were you most afraid of if you had to be fearful of any of the groups? Was it the Serbians? I mean,
yeah, I would say it was the Serbians. There's the scene with when I was with Vuk and his boy they had the meth addict in the room. I don't know if people could pick it up. Ryan had edited it in a different way, but there was the meth addict in the back room was raping somebody.
Yeah.
The guy was tied to a table, and he was being raped. And I feel that the way it was written was so intense and specific that you got these two guys at this table, one's there, and they leave that door open for Jay to see that taking place. And I think that was the most fearful and the most ruthless part of the movie.
And I think, is it Petey who has the line, "Oh, the Serbians, they'll fuck everything. They'll fuck you and her."
Oh, like, yeah, and your I was like, they'll whack me, her, your dog, your cat, and whatever it is. That there's no rules with them, and that was even the way that Zoran, who was Vuk, the way that he would play, you can feel that even in the scene that Jay is coming there needing some time. Like, he's coming like, "I need your help." And just the way that Zoran would play the silence, he'd let the silence just linger, and it creates so much tension. And then he's sharpening his blade, and he's guys flossing, and they're just so casual, but they're so deadly in how casual they are.
Can you talk about being able to play a character that, I mean, it's a very dark character, but very much a heroic sense to him, even though at the end, obviously, he affects everyone, but like going back and saving her first, when he finds out the Serbians are going to the house. Talk about having, the mental image I thought of was like Carlito's Way, like a character that's doesn't want to be in this situation, but this is what he does, and he's really good at it, but he's going to save the people he loves if he can. Mm-hmm. Was it fun to play this type of lead and have that darkness, but also still has a heart in a sense?
Yeah, it was challenging too, for just keeping the like you said, the darkness, but also keeping that fine line of, he has people he cares about. And it's not just this, cowboy in a sense. This just shoot 'em up, roll into town and basically just wreak havoc. That, yeah, he's always thinking of her. Everything is about her. Even with once the money, it's everything there. Look, this is it. When we're done, when we get out of this, we're done. And we're going to go to Vegas. We'll do something that people, whatever normal people do, whatever it is. That it's, yeah, he has a heart to him. He's not that hard guy. He can be, but he's not the hard guy. He's not the ruthless, I'll cut your throat and leave you in a gutter. Kind of. He doesn't really go there as much as he will if he has to, but he doesn't. He prefers to stay on the other side of that line. And it's fun to play that.
Let's switch to being here in Austin. And
yeah.
Can you tell me the story about how this film in particular has a very soft spot in this festival happened? You found out about it in a very unique situation. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Would you share that with us?
Yeah, so it was it was August 12th. It was my dad's birthday, and I remember we were hanging out in the house, and I was in town for his birthday, and my girlfriend as well, and we were at the house, and Ryan just sent an email out and said, "Hey, I got some big news. The Suburban Cowboy is going to have its world premiere at the Austin Film Festival at October 15th." It's almost 2 months to the day, and so I'm in Texas. I'm here, and getting the news, and I was like, this is meant to be. So, and actually, I was in another show at the time. I was going to play Hamlet in Santa Monica in California. And I got the news, and I unfortunately had to drop out of that to come here, but it was all for the best. And
Hamlet, another character that likes wearing dark clothes and is kind of pissy.
Yeah, it's a really fun comedic tale.
Yeah. Can you also talk about? You've got to do a lot here while in Austin. I mean, you were part of the reading.
Yeah.
How much fun has it been to be out in Austin with this world premiere? Your folks and your girlfriend are here, but also the festival's really utilized you. And
yeah, I mean, getting even just I as the days were approaching, I was getting I'm like, okay, I don't know what this film's gonna do. I don't know what it's gonna be like. Are there gonna be people there? Is it just gonna be me and Ryan and them? Like, who's gonna be here? And then I got the email a couple days before, and it was from Katie, who works in that works with the festival, and she goes, "Hey, yeah, we would really like for you to be a part of this staged reading of War Story by Beau Willimon, the creator of House of Cards and Ides of March." And I'm like looking at this, and it wasn't just oh, here's an opportunity to audition for something. It's like, oh no, here's the script. It's attached in your email. Oh, and here's the character. And I was like, this is unbelievable. And I come from a theater background as well, and it's a play. And the opportunity to do something like that at a place like this is just words can't describe like what the opportunity means to me. It's incredible. It's incredible.
So, theater-wise, Hamlet might have been your character, you might answer that, but is there a character you've always wanted to play, or a role you've always wanted to tackle?
Well, I always, from the time I was in 9th grade, and I think the first Shakespeare play I read was Macbeth, and I got to play Macbeth last October, a year ago, and that was one of the roles that I always wanted to play, and I got to do it, which was just another very, very tragic and dark.
And definitely not a comedy.
No. So that was one that I always wanted to play. And then another role that I always want to play is I would love to play. I want them to do like a biopic, like Spielberg would do a biopic of John Wilkes Booth.
Wow.
I would love to play John Wilkes Booth, like a very, a very historical, very historical driven piece, and to explore
the conspiracy.
Yeah, just his mindset and everything. He was also a Shakespearean actor. He played his famous role was Brutus, which is just he jumps down death to tyrants and the whole thing. It's like it almost writes itself just in that, using that element of it. So that's a role that I'd really love to explore.
So Spielberg, Frank wants to kill Abe Lincoln, which works for Spielberg.
Yeah. Just pick up where Daniel Day-Lewis left off and have him do it.
That'd be crazy. So Frank, what can we, with this is obviously going to travel, but what else can we see? And you're kind of busy.
I shot this was a really independent, I did it, it was 2-3 months after shooting Suburban Cowboy in Los Angeles. I shot a really independent comedy pilot, and it's called 48 States of Granddad. And it's about this high school kid who, with his 2 friends, his grandfather they grew up, I believe it was in Illinois. It takes place, they're from Illinois. They graduate from high school, moving on to college, and his granddad had passed away right before he goes on to school. But his granddad always wanted to travel, and he never got the chance to. So his grandson, me, Brian, makes a promise to him that I'll bring your ashes and I'll scatter your ashes in all the 48 joining states. So it's about them just traveling in a car, going around and doing this. And we shot the pilot in LA. It was more like a sizzle thing, and it got picked. It got a festival in LA picked it up. It won a screenplay contest, and actually this weekend it's at the Orlando Film Festival.
Wow.
Right now. So
Wow.
yeah, and they're shopping that around as well, and they got interest with that.
That's crazy. Well, I guess kind of last question about, since you've got your family here, where are you guys? What are you doing in your off time when you're not here? Like, where are you taking them out to? I mean, they live here, so like you can't really take them somewhere fun. Like, do they take you out? How does this work?
I would say they take me out, me and Tiffany out. What do we think? Where have we been to? We went to Trulux,
Okay.
downtown last night. It was amazing. We've ridden the train from downtown.
Really?
Yeah, the train's awesome, by the way. I rode the train from downtown to was it Lakeline to Lakeline, and that was awesome. And we were watching just before we came here, so we were watching all of the football games. Steelers, huge Steelers fan, and they're very, very disappointing right now, especially. But yeah, and then we've done that and just hanging out, just relaxing.
Very cool. Well, Frank, I really appreciate your time. I was blown away by the role.
Thank you.
And can't wait to see more. Can't wait to see this 48 States. It sounds awesome.
Thank you so much.